Hi everyone and welcome to a new episode of Entrepreneurs Playing Games. My name is Amandine Flachs and today I am joined by Hevar, the CEO and co-founder of Wutzu. So as usual, we are live on many platforms today and I see that some people have already come say hi. So whatever the platform you're using, please do join the discussion and ask us anything, anytime. I am still a bit sick today, so I'm not going to do all the talking. I will let Hevar do that, but I'll make sure to pass your question if you have anything to ask, or also if you want to tell us more about what you are up to. The video of today will be of course available in a few days on YouTube, followed by the podcast edition, some highlight video and more. So if you're not on YouTube right now, you can check it out also afterward for further interviews. Also, I'd like to mention that I recently launched a kind of a merch shop. So if you want to support this Christmas a creator, check it out. The link is in the different descriptions. And I think that's a great way also to support someone and to brag about supporting a creator while completing your duty about being a secret Santa, because this season is coming for sure. So the agenda for today is quite straightforward. We are going first to talk about Wutzu, better understand what Hevar is working on. Then we'll play some video game, and the game I choose for today is kind of Christmassy vibes. You'll see it's going to be quite fun. And after that, we'll deep dive further into Hevar's journey and discuss more about his background, what he's been up to recently, and the next steps for Wudsu. So, Hevar, are you ready?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, I'm really glad to have you here today. We've been chatting for a few months now.
Yeah.
Great. So, hi everyone for joining us on the chat also. I see a few people here, especially David. Good to have you here today. So to start with, Wutzu hasn't really been communicating much on social media or anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
I think you just put the website up, some information is now available.
Yes.
But can you tell us what is Wutzu?
So, we haven't been posting much in the past few months because we've been working really hard, me and the team, on Wutzu. But Wutzu is basically an on-demand grocery delivery service. So the idea started when, kind of several months back, I was sitting in my room. My mum usually shops for me for the house. I was thinking to myself, how come I can get my food delivered in 20 minutes, but why can't I get my groceries delivered in the same amount of time? And what is stopping me from doing that? Mm-hmm. I dug deep into this problem. I researched the background behind it, and the reality is that there's really not really any infrastructure service for stores. While the big stores, say Tesco, Ocado, M&S, and all these big shops do have their own delivery infrastructure, the main problem with it is that you have a minimum spend, and sometimes they come like the next day, and for someone who's like me, where I order groceries on the whim, I can't be waiting 24 hours to get something. They are releasing platforms where they do get stuff earlier for you guys, but the thing is with platforms like this, they don't provide much variety, they don't provide much choice, and especially for someone who's ethnic like me, I kind of get my groceries from very specific shops, and like some of these shops don't even have delivery infrastructure. So the data behind it really supports it. A lot of grocery shopping is not done online. So based on last year's findings, £200 billion worth of public spending was spent on grocery shopping, but only 12 billion of that was actually spent online on groceries. So that comes around like almost 5%. So to think of it like this, like only 5% of grocery shopping is done online, it really doesn't make sense in an age and an era where people kind of, we want things on the whim, we want things in the same hour. So regarding that, it's just a good way for people to, actually, start shopping fresh and getting new variety, new choices, because the shops we're actually working with, a lot of them don't even have like POS systems and things. They're not actually very digital. Yeah. So bringing that platform to them where they can deliver groceries to customers, which is what we provide, is something that really hasn't been talked about before. So we spent the last couple of months on this actually. We spent 6 months actually working on this project, and our findings are kind of they're coming to light every day, and pretty much when we look at it, there are so many problems involved, and we're trying to solve them on a day-to-day basis. There's so many different reasons why people actually don't shop their groceries online. So one of the main reasons, as I already outlined, is that it comes the next day. Like, who's waiting the next day to get their groceries?
When you're lucky, because depending on the provider, you can sometimes have to wait a few days.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you do have to wait a few days. You know, that's ridiculous. You do have platforms, like I said, Ocado do deliver it in 1 hour sometimes, but the choice they give you, it's not a variety of products, and you have to pay a little bit, not even a little bit, a lot more extra if you're going to get it delivered in the same time. And another reason is a lot of stock control systems. Grocery stores, the majority of them, not the normal, big chains and stuff, none of them are digital. Like, I went into a shop just last week, and I was speaking to the manager of it. I was like, okay, do you have a POS system? A POS system is like a till system. And they don't have any of this.
They barely have a website
sometimes. Not even a website sometimes. They literally do it. They have all the prices in their head. You're like, okay, what's the price of this? I was like, there's nothing on it, but I physically know what the price of this product is. And it's a lot. It's the case with some greengrocers. It's the case for ethnic stores. It's the case for even some convenience stores. And you're thinking, in 2019, we have Amazon, we have, Ocado, we have all these websites, we have all these things. Why can't these SME local grocery stores have the option of delivering to customers or being digital? And we worked a solution for that. And we worked a solution for that in the past 6 months.
Okay. And in the documents you also sent me, you mentioned several times that people's habits are changing.
Yes.
So how come? How is this changing before? What is a reference and what is now what people are expecting to get?
So, globally, consumer shopping habits are changing. It's, nothing new. You look at it from our perspective, you're no longer purchasing food. You're no longer going to McDonald's to buy your food, from that perspective. You're ordering through Uber Eats, you're ordering through Deliveroo. And, there's so much data to prove it out there, restaurant shopping, it's almost increased by, 50% in the last year or so. So when we look at it from that angle, just in the food sector alone, which is not even groceries, consumer habits are completely changing. And you look at it from our perspective, look at yourself from an introspection of what you do. You can't even wait a day for Amazon deliveries. Sometimes you want it same day. You're so desperate, like, oh my God, that thing is coming tomorrow. I cannot wait. I'm so impatient. I want it today. I'll actually pay £5 to have something delivered today as opposed to tomorrow. So the consumer shopping habit has changed from getting things in 3 days, which actually was the case. I remember 10 years ago, when you bought something online on eBay or whatever, you'd expected it to come within 3 days. That was the case.
Okay, 10 years ago, 3 days.
10 years ago, it's 3 days. Then gradually, as part of this decade, it became the case that it was, almost 1 to 2 working days. And then after that, gradually, we've come to the era of the gig economy where people are asking for things same day, same hour even. So that's one aspect where it's changing. Now, let's focus on the grocery sector.
Yeah.
So grocery sector is, like I said, it's valued around $200 billion, pounds actually, in the UK. That's expected to increase to about 300 billion in the next decade, and it's gonna the shopping habits of consumers are gradually going to convert to online. So the data and finally, you can look these up. It's expected to increase to about 20% grocery shopping online by 2023. So that's a lot of grocery shopping that's being online, almost 2 to 3-fold increase in the next couple of years. So if that's going to be the case with Ocado and Tesco, where you're getting your groceries delivered next day, I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah.
Especially if you're just a usual person, you're just cooking at home, and you're like, oh, I need a few additional things, or for whatever you're preparing. You quite often, when you go to the grocery shop, you generally don't have the time for that. Yeah.
You don't. Like, sometimes you're at home, you got your feet up, you're thinking to yourself, like, should I get that, kebab down the road using Uber Eats, or should I really go to Tesco and pick up my stuff? Because there's no option for Tesco to deliver to you in the same hour, is there,
Yeah, I would also say that depending on where you're based, for example, if you're in central London, you don't have really big shops around you.
Yeah, exactly.
So your options are very limited.
Yeah, it's true. And so when it comes to that case where your variety is limited, you resort to unhealthy options. So the unhealthy option would be, okay, let's just go, order food online. And I want to help change this habit because, this country as a whole is actually becoming more obese. There's a huge obesity crisis going on. So having the option of having on-demand food delivered to your business is really not helping. And I'm sure, I don't have data to back it, but I'm certain that this is having an impact on people's livelihoods, people's lifestyles. Because if you're not having to even walk down to your restaurant, obviously you're burning less calories. You're becoming gradually unhealthy. You're going to become more obese. It's pretty trivial. You don't need to have some data backing this. So I was thinking, okay, who would benefit from a system like this mostly? People who are lazy, mums, students. These kind of people really would like to have this service all the time, because your mums and they really appreciate having food delivered to them, like the groceries delivered to them. Sometimes they're in a rush. People are becoming genuinely more busy, and that's why consumer habits are changing. The reason why people are shopping on the whim is because we have no time nowadays. Like the reason why sometimes you're like, oh, I can't be asked to go to Tesco is you come home from a 10-12 hour shift. Yeah. You're like, I can't really do anything right now. I have to either quickly get something or buy something from the local shop. So in that regard, providing mums and students and the kind of people.
Dads also.
Dads are cooking now. Dads are cooking. Okay, I'm not being sexist. Yeah. So when you provide them that sort of thing where they can get their groceries delivered to their house, I'm certain that lifestyles can change. And one of the things what we actually want to do at Wutsu, to provide a new immersive shopping experience is bring people baskets of shopping. Yeah. So what we call at Wutsu the basket is a pre-curated choice of groceries that we can have from stores. So stores that are signed up with Wutsu can have a weekly or monthly or seasonal sort of setup where they can provide groceries that are curated for the user. For example, say we have a lot of ethnic stores signed up on our platform right now. We have about 50 stores signed up. Okay. Let's say one of them, for example, had pomegranates in season, or certain meats were ready, and let's say they had different types of seasoning and things. You bundle that. You ask the shop owner to bundle that in a box and sell it to the consumer. So providing them an immersive experience to actually shop. And what we'll do along with that bundle is give you a recipe. So we'll actually give you recipes in the app. This is a concept that we're currently trying to test out and include in our application. So aside from just getting your groceries on time, which is not really an immersive experience, it's just functionalism and on-demand deliveries, we're gonna take that a step up. So we're not gonna just give you the groceries, because I'm pretty sure if you give someone a bunch of tomatoes and a cucumber, you're not really gonna do anything with it. But if you give someone
tomato salad,
okay, maybe a tomato salad. But if you're the kind of person who's like, I can't put two and two together, I don't know what I'm gonna make of this, you give them a recipe. And I think we can do that through the application. You can give people and customers recommendations based on recipes, or give them recipes even in the app. So I think this is a really good way of trying to change consumer habits from unhealthy junk food and transition them to not only to this new art of having things taken to your house and you can cook things with them, but it's also giving you that experience to try new things. So maybe you can shop at one of our Asian shops at Wudsu, or you can shop at a Middle Eastern shop, or
it can also, I guess, also broaden your choice, because you don't necessarily know what's around you, and for shops like that, you don't necessarily know what kind of recipe you can do on your own, or you have to do lots of research and planning before. So I guess you can also broaden people on
yeah, you can, exactly. So providing them that choice in the app, because the app is essentially a marketplace, it's not restricted to one or two stores. Because we have so many stores signed up, you can have a choice of where you want to shop. So whether that be local supermarket or your greengrocers, you can choose what you want, and that's what we're giving to customers. A lot of customers, I feel like, and a lot of people nowadays, as much as they like having the experience of having things delivered on demand, I think giving them the option to have an immersive experience, giving them the option of trying new things that they've not necessarily tried before, is going to really be a game changer in the industry. It's sometimes it's quite fun to cook. When you have time, when you have a little bit of time, it can be quite fun to cook. So giving them that incentive to shop and giving them all they need. So there's so many places where,
we also have lots of super interesting questions on the chat right now. I haven't asked them yet, and I think I may have to keep them for after we play some games, because we now have a better understanding of what you're up to, and that's really the best moment to play games. And I feel that if we start asking those big questions, then it will never end.
Oh,
I
yeah,
will
yeah,
never play games.
Question,
But
yeah, exactly. That's
David, I really see your question and I find them super interesting. So I'll definitely ask them right after we play video games.
Sure.
And
What was even asked?
well, there are questions about turnover for
Okay.
2020, analysis on the monetary side aspect, and also Red Sam Stark is asking about filtering.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
lots of very interesting
I
questions.
have good responses to these questions, but
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, so we do.
But we'll talk about all this right after, and also David, you asked about getting in touch with Hevar. I'll put all the information at the end on the description of the video on YouTube, and also just reach out to me anytime and I'll be happy to make any intro. So, let's play some video game now.
Okay,
yes,
that's what I
Eddie
came
is
here
excited
for.
about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Going to launch that. So, as I mentioned in the introduction,
Yeah.
today is kind of a Christmas vibe game. It is a bit gore and surprising and weird, but that's why we love it. Okay. So
Santa's
as we
Rampage.
Hmm?
Santa's Rampage.
Santa's Rampage.
Really gory
yes.
title.
I didn't know it was a thing. Like I came across those games and it's like cleaning games. So surprising, but since they have this Santa version, I played it a few times and it was actually quite fun. I'm going to move it to the next scene. So as usual, we don't have the sound of the game, but they do. Okay,
Fantastic.
just going to launch it.
Just start
Perfect,
work
both
assignment.
controllers are good. Yes, it's really about
Take one?
working in. Well, yes, if you want to take this
Okay,
one,
I'll
go
take this one.
ahead. Split screen, we all good on this.
I don't know the controls. This is going to be hard. You've probably played this before, so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did, and I'm going to show you the controls. It's actually easy, but
Okay.
that's the thing. It's not a competition or anything.
Okay.
So messing around with the controls is part of the game.
Okay.
So the setup is quite straightforward. We are janitors, and we are here to clean Santa's workshop.
Right. Okay.
So Santa had some kind of a mental breakdown, and he killed his elves, and he did a big mess in his
Santa
workshop.
goes psycho. Okay.
Exactly. So we don't see Santa, but we are in his workshop. So let's start and see. We just need to clean out a bit.
Right. Okay.
And
Janitor.
yes, so to start to get you in,
Yeah.
here
look
we
at
are.
that. I'm in. It's me.
Oh, that's confusing because I am on the left and you're on the right.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Fine.
We can swap controllers.
If you want, are you good with the Steam controllers? Are you fine with that?
I've never used an Xbox controller, so this is could be a
Okay.
difference. Yeah.
Well, this one is slightly more difficult in a sense that you don't use a joystick to move around
Okay.
right here, but you have to actually use this pad right here.
Okay.
That's the only difference.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. Let's see. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
How do I move around? How do I
So
actually?
you move around with the
Okay.
with the joystick on the left, and then right here you have on your hand the thing to clean the floor. So to activate whatever you have in your hand, you use the right bottom trigger.
Okay. So I'm supposed to
Um,
clean stuff.
It cleans stuff, but then you can also change what you have in your hand. So with the right or left
Yeah.
top trigger, you actually change what you have in your hand. So
Yeah,
if
got
you're
that.
bare hands, activating your hands.
I can't see what he's even got on this screen. He's got a little mini.
Oh,
icon.
that's fine.
Yeah. Got that.
So this is to actually see if it's clean around
Wow.
you.
We just brutally murdered the elf.
And then
Yeah.
the bare hands are used a lot, to be honest, because you have to pick things up, and the cleaning thing.
Right.
And then there
What
is no
else is
trash.
moving around?
I
Oh, there's no trash.
No, not really.
So what is the actual objective? I'm supposed to clean this up. I'm just.
So yeah, so to clean it, the best way
Yeah.
is to pick up things and put them in the fire pit.
Okay.
I guess. I think there is a way to have trashes, and also if you pick something,
This poor, I'm gonna just kick him around.
you're putting blood everywhere.
Oh, sorry. Poor elf is just being dragged across the floor.
Yeah. It's going to be worse to clean up. And also,
It's
as
okay.
we walk in the room, we leave some
I'm not
blood
even
on the
holding
floor.
him. He's just like in the middle of my arms. He's just there.
It's levitating.
It's
yeah.
levitating elf. Well, can I throw him around?
Yes.
Where's the fire pit? I need to put him in there. I think
Just in the middle of the main room.
Okay, bye bye elf. I didn't even drop him. He's just on fire.
Oh no,
in
he's
the
on
middle of
fire
nowhere.
on the carpet.
Oh my god. Oh. Okay, now he's he's just being cooked alive.
Yes.
Oh no, he's dead. Okay,
I think
that's
it
cool. Yeah, he's
disappeared
dead,
after
he's
a while.
dead.
I'm just going to remove my...
I got a Christmas hat.
You do?
Yeah.
Better.
Okay. I'm just
Oh, you're gonna go to the other room. You'll see quite interesting things.
in the other room.
Yes.
Oh, look
You are
around.
in another room. You are in the second room.
Right. Oh, I've got a gun.
Ooh.
Oh, can I use it?
I don't
Okay.
think so. I think you
Oh,
can just
no.
move it around.
That'll be fun. I'm just gotta clean
It's
this
not
up.
a fighting game. It's a cleaning game.
Okay, fine. I'm mopping, but I'm just getting this. Why is it getting bloody? I'm just.
Well, because it's dirty.
Oh,
So
I
there
need
is
to
a
wash it.
thing over there.
How do I wash this?
So where I am,
I have to
there is
sterilize
a
it. I'm
thing.
gonna put it in the fire.
No, it doesn't work.
That doesn't work. Okay.
You have to get a water thing. Oh, I put water everywhere.
Oh no. Sorry.
That's you, actually.
I just hit you with the stick. Please, can you clean my brush, please? That's not how you do it.
No, you have to wet it on the floor.
Okay, cool.
Okay, it's on the floor. Try to
Try
clean
to.
it. Yeah, now it's clean.
Oh, it's clean now.
Now
Okay,
you
let's
can
mop
clean
it.
again. Yes.
Look. Oh no, it's bloody.
But that's the thing. Your also your feet are still putting more blood on the floor.
Oh my god, this is horrible.
It is,
Are you
it's
serious?
hard, right?
Like I'm just making a mess. This is. My mom would hate me for this. She's watching this. She's like.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
great. Well, hi, Hevar's mom. My family.
She has
isn't
no idea how
watching.
to use Twitch. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe YouTube.
Yeah, she's
Yeah?
okay with that.
Okay.
Oh, I just spilled the bucket. Like I just. Let's get another one.
Yeah.
I've got an empty bucket now. Okay. I still got water. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's bloody.
No, it's done.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to.
How
get
did you
another
activate
one.
that?
Just a button. When you are bare hands, you can actually activate the button, the red button.
What is this for? Finding dead bodies? Is scanning people? I'm just.
It's gonna tell you that it's messy, but here because we haven't cleaned much,
Yeah.
everything is messy around
Yeah,
us. But you
exactly.
have some parts that are kind of hidden
Yeah.
sometimes. So if it looks clean but you're not sure, you use that.
Let me go pick this up. Sorry.
Bare hands. Oh, okay.
Did you just fall over?
Did I fall? Yeah.
Alright, drink this. Okay, cool. Can I just not just throw the water on the floor and that would be smart?
We can try. I haven't played
Bam.
much, you know. I haven't tried everything, so try. Go ahead.
Okay, let's just.
Also, I'm quite intrigued while you're doing this, because earlier you just told me that you used to be on YouTube and be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
I want to know more about that.
So-
It's not related to your startup, so that's a perfect moment to talk about this.
So yeah, I used to be on YouTube. I don't really do any sort of live. Oh no, you up to my bucket. I didn't really do any sort of like live streaming or anything like that.
Okay.
I would just make memes and.
Memes
what
on
teenagers
YouTube?
do? Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
posted like video memes. I don't know if they have a name for it, but we just call
Like
them
meme
memes.
reviews?
No,
Or
like
creating
actually
memes?
creating memes, but video based sort of stuff. Like it would be.
Okay, that's cool.
So like getting scenes from movies and putting subtitles and things like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that kind of thing. And it tends to be they tend to be quite popular with teenagers. You get a lot of views. I made $1.
That's good.
Over like 30,000 views, I made $1. So, like that's pretty impressive, I guess.
That's not bad, yeah.
It is.
40,000 views. That's good.
Yeah, and that was on actually just one video, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. That's really nice.
It's kind of hit and miss, so you don't really know what's gonna work out in YouTube but there is a sort of formula for it, but it's not something you can pinpoint every time, if that makes sense. You know what can work well,
Yes.
you don't know what will, if that makes
Well,
sense.
I think also it requires so much work. It's not about what will work, but what you enjoy making. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so demanding to
Yeah.
create regular content that if you do something just because it might be trendy or the algorithm might like it,
Yeah.
then it's going to be so much effort for
Exactly.
not that much reward.
Alright, let's just paint the walls.
It's going to be bloody.
Yeah, that's extra cleaning for us. Let me try this. Okay, I'm gonna bring the bucket and I'm gonna sit there. Okay.
Go ahead.
It didn't do anything. Wait, let me try that. I think actually saw something. Alright, listen. This is actually a highly intelligent move. What I'm doing right here. Okay, see the bucket?
Yeah.
The wall is dirty. It will be clean. If the game physics works, it's actually... Yeah. It should be clean.
Yeah, the game physics is very interesting, so don't come too much on that.
No, it's fun. This is fun. I like this. Let's get the bucket out. I just literally... You saw that.
And also in the chat, let me know if the sound is a bit loud. I remember when I played, the sound was very loud. I tried to control it in the settings, but let me know if it's fine or not. Also, Eddie is on the stream right now, and he said that he's watching us on his station. Like, he has a big station with lots of screen. Yeah, I think he posted a picture on Twitter, or he will do it, and I love that all the time. Like, you're in his big station and you see your face on the big screen at the top, and that's just wow. And you're playing silly games, but still you're on the screen.
Yeah. Oh, I've got an elf now. Look at him. Is that just his head? Don't tell me that's just his head.
I don't see the head actually. I think you have the feet. I think you have the legs.
I'm gonna set on fire.
But I do have another part here that I am throwing through the mezzanine.
Wait, can we just throw him off?
Yes, you can.
Just
That's what I've been
through the
doing.
poor elf. Oh my god, this is a game for psychos. Okay, pick him up.
Yeah.
Come with
me.
me.
I think there was also kind of a trash just for biohazard things that I guess elves count on this. Not sure.
Look at this guy.
Yeah, we could actually fight with our elves.
Yeah, we could actually
be dating, like, yeah.
Okay, you bring your elf there. I
got mine.
Okay, we're gonna make them hug. Okay.
Okay. That's hard. Yeah.
It looks like he's sleeping on each other. Yes.
We could actually be dancing. That's terrible.
Maybe let's make them dance.
We are terrible humans. So it must be Christmas Day.
You just threw the poor elf.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Okay,
and then it splashes on the floor.
Okay,
that's terrible.
Look at me right now. I'm gonna put this elf in the fire.
Go ahead.
I want to see if it's. No, look at it from. I want to see from your angle what it looks
like.
like.
From my angle.
Okay.
Getting closer then.
It's just on fire.
Yeah. No, it's not on fire anymore.
Oh no. No, he's just here. Come here.
You lost your head.
My score. Look at this. We're not even playing by score. We're playing by how many elves we're throwing in the fire.
Okay, so I'm just going to Okay, Zagrosi, I'll just put you on timeout because you're a bit annoying. Not just to me, but to everyone else. So please be nice with other people, with us, but also with the other people on the chat.
Yeah.
So no respect means timeout, and next time it's banned. I don't really have the time to moderate too much the chat because
that makes
we're already
sense.
together.
Yeah.
So
it can be quite difficult.
Yeah. So the ban will be quite fast with me. So be careful with that.
Ban hammer. Okay.
Okay, so we have one of our viewers, David, who actually arrived quite early on the stream.
Yeah, he was here.
And he's saying again that he's very interested in talking to you. Apparently, he's an investor.
Oh, okay.
So that's why he also had very specific questions. So I don't know if you'll be able to stay for the entire stream, but definitely happy to put you in touch.
Fantastic. Okay. I want to mop the floor there now. You just threw the bucket at me.
Sorry for that. I'm just cleaning it a bit, but I don't understand. I thought that the fire was removing everything, but actually they stay there.
Yeah, exactly.
For some time. It's
Wait, did you
put?
You can't burn plastic like that. That's bad. Come on.
I know, but we don't have any trash. I think we can get one over there.
Okay, let's actually clean. Okay, you know what? Let's both clean this up and see how we can actually make this room nice.
Okay, I do have. That's a trash. That's a biohazard.
It's a biohazard, okay.
Maybe what we're supposed to use for herbs and not burning them. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, Biohazard. Yeah, we put the bodies in there. Okay, that's what we're meant to do. Maybe, just maybe.
But it's less fun, so.
Oh my god, the poor guy. You've got like.
It's terrible.
Oh no, he's just got his head on the floor and stuff.
It makes me think of Futurama, the Santa, like the robot Santa. That is.
What did you do with that bucket? Oh yeah, the robot Santa.
Things just exploded. I have no idea what happened.
Right, let's go. I'm gonna move with this bucket slowly. It's not.
You have to be slow, yeah.
Okay, I'm walking on top of something.
I think because there are too many things on the floor, maybe. I don't know.
Alright, I've got a bloody mop. Yeah, I can't clean this. I like the graphics. They're very like like TF2. I don't know if you play Team Fortress. Yeah.
No, I haven't.
So I think this is they probably use the same game engine or something.
Well, it's not just Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, they're definitely not.
Yeah, everyone is using it.
Okay, I clean my mop.
So what kind of games are you playing?
Oh, I mostly play. I'm kind of a nerd in that sense. I play a lot of strategy games. So I play Total War. I don't know if you've heard of that. Sometimes I play survival games. Survival games are fun. Real-time strategy. I don't know why. It's just I like the whole idea of building an economy from something, like a lot of civilization games. And
oh yeah.
So one of my favorites that I have, I think about, oh my god, I spent last year about 300 hours on it. Hearts of Iron. So it's like a World War II game, but you're playing online with a bunch of people, and your aim is to essentially just conquer people's land and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit different from wiping away the bloodstains of dead elves, but
Oh yeah, sure. Well, I like to surprise my guests with games that they're not expecting.
Yeah, exactly. And this is fun. Look at this. I put the water in the fire, but it's just burning the water. So
yeah, you don't need to be too logical about it. Yeah.
Let's pick up something. Okay, if I pick up this and throw it around, just moved you around, didn't I?
Yes, which is good because the bucket is still here with the water on it. No, my bucket is on fire with water on it. What's going on?
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Do I still have water? Yes, I still have water. Oh no!
Oh my god.
I split everything. No.
Let's put this away. Okay.
Well, result is we've been playing for at least 15 minutes and it's still a mess.
We've not cleaned anything up. We've actually just made it worse. It was nicer before we started than now.
Yes.
Literally, we've done the worst job imaginable. Do not hire us. It's
We're very bad janitors, yeah.
Yes. I want to find Santa.
Well, he's not around. And I think looking at the mess here, it's better if he's not around.
Yeah, it's probably better not around, yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, I guess maybe we can get back to the interview.
Sure.
We're not getting to get the entire room cleaned anyway.
This is literally the worst cleaning experience I've ever had. Look at this. We just in the 10-15 minutes that we've been here, we've managed to just make every single bit of the floor muddy. We've got all the tables and chairs in a mess as well.
It's a big mess for sure. But I think anyway, it takes, if you're very organized and proactive, I think it takes about 2 hours to clean the entire workshop. But then you have other rooms. It's not just this room. To clean all the rooms, it takes at least 2 hours. And I've played maybe half an hour this week. And yeah, I don't even know how I could do it in 2 hours.
No, it makes sense. Like.
So let's just get back to the interview.
Sure.
I'm going to... I can take this back.
Thank you.
This way. Everyone, if you have any question, we already have a few questions lined up. But if you want to add your own question, that's the right moment to put it.
Even in the video, is that just there?
Oh, you're here. Yes, you're on the video right here.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yes, we do see the game right here, but no, you're still on screen.
I'm still on screen, that's good.
Okay. We can hear a bit of the sound actually.
You can, yeah, tiny bit.
This game is a bit painful to exit.
Yeah. Most games like this are.
Okay.
Okay.
Hop.
Who's winning?
Well, it's up to you to tell.
Yeah.
I don't know right now because there is no score and no way to actually win or lose. Well, you tell us.
Exactly. Well, there was a score. But I think that was more joint thing than an individual thing.
Yes, I think that's actually the case. Perfect. Getting back to us on the big screen. Okay, perfect. So we talk a bit about Wutzu, and you gave us a really good introduction on why you were doing this and really the purpose of the company. So now I'd like to directly start again with David's questions.
Yeah.
I think let's get back to the chat a bit and let's see the different question he asked earlier. Okay, I have to go back quite some time ahead. Oh no, I can't find it. Give me a second. So there are some questions about the monetary aspect.
Okay.
But just before touching the monetary aspect, I also would like to know more about how it works on both hands.
Okay.
So I guess it means also who pays for the service.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, how does this work in terms of the app, the platform, because you have to deal with shops, but also end users.
Yeah, so again, like it is a B2B2C kind of platform where we're connecting three individuals together. So we're connecting both the buyers, the customers, the shops, the customers, and the drivers together. And it's a three-ended platform. So obviously for MVP, for a minimum viable product, we tried to cut an end out. So because we wouldn't expect the anticipation of having so many deliveries, what we did was we cut out the driver app for the beginning, and we are outsourcing some of our deliveries to courier company Stewart, and we're doing some of them ourselves upon launch. But the main goal is to try and outsource because we can. It's better to as founders to delegate your time elsewhere where it's needed in the business.
Yes.
So we have that aspect of it, and what's required from the system is that you have the stores who give us our product. They give their products. One of the biggest challenges with stores is because they're not digital, having to add thousands of products from their system when they don't have any sort of decent inventory management or stock control is really, really difficult. Like it's just picture it. The kind of way they want us to do it is go through every product, scan it, and then put it on our system by the price, which is going to be very inefficient for stores that have thousands of products.
Yeah.
So
which is quite often the case. I mean, you have a shop,
exactly.
So you have lots of products.
So one of the things we actually did with some of these shops, we're looking at them from a perspective of if you take some of their invoices and things, and you kind of look into them and you ask the suppliers, you contact the suppliers, you can get barcodes and things. So digitalizing their system is actually not as inefficient as we thought it was. It's good because I have a background of experience from working in my father's shop, who has tens of thousands of products, and adding all those into his POS system, his payment system, his till, rather than taking me days by manually scanning all the items. What we did was I simply, contacted the suppliers. I spoke to them. I got the barcode list, and I kind of collated them all in a sort of a database format. And then adding that to our system actually doesn't take long. It can take less than a day even for each store. So that does put everything into perspective. So once the stores give us their products, we don't charge the store's commission based on their products, because that is an Uber Eats delivery style model. You can't do that for customers that are paying groceries. Imagine paying 30% on 50, 60 quid's worth of shopping. That does not make sense. Yeah. And especially if it's coming from the store itself. So one of the ways we tackle that problem is having a scalable commission model, and what that simply means is that the more you shop, the less your commission becomes, and this is placed onto the customer. So rather than the store itself, this is something the customer has to pay, and it's actually quite a good incentive because it encourages the user to make more larger transactions, because they'll think, okay, well, if I've got £20 worth of groceries, if I order £10 more, the commission's less. I'm not putting money into thin air. I might as well make this useful. So that does put the minimum spend up. there are similar platforms that are offering this kind of system, and their orders are very small. They're only making £22 average orders. So we're trying to increase that because it makes us more profitable, and it means that we have more stuff to deliver. So that's the variable commission model. So we don't charge the stores a single penny for being on our platform. All it really takes for them to even sign up is sign a contract, and then we take your products, and before you know it, you're on our system. What we even do for them is we extend their range by 3 miles for the delivery radius. So some of these stores actually, they do have delivery systems. And you're thinking, okay, if they have a delivery system, then
why would they be on the platform?
Why would they be on the platform? Exactly, good question. So what we would do in that regard is do a joint venture. A lot of these companies, they either don't have a website, or if they do have a website, it's not really well designed for things, or it's their own thing. So providing that marketplace function where people that have never heard of their store, or even people that have heard of their store want a more intuitive platform, we do provide that for them. And we call this a joint venture. So we're actually testing these out in London. We're planning to have 2 by launch, hopefully if everything goes well. And it means we're tapping in already from day one into millions of pounds worth of shop revenue. So one of the shops we're actually trying to start this off with is already making 1.5 million just from their deliveries. And if we charge a small commission fee, because they have their own vans, they're doing everything for us, it makes sense you only charge them a platform fee. Yeah. So this only happens for stores that are ethnic with their own delivery systems and things. And there are a lot of them, actually, surprisingly. I thought there was not many of them, but surprisingly there's loads and loads around London. And so when you add those to our system, it already builds the model, because they already have the customers, they already have the people with them. So all they're really doing is put them on the platform. And then the customer side of things, so pretty much all is explained. You're shopping as usual. Typing out your list. So one of the guys, I actually looked at your question. It's very good how you said, having to type out your grocery shopping list is kind of inefficient.
Yeah,
in the sense.
For sure.
Yeah, because you might as well just go to the shop if that's the case. So the whole basket concept is we're trying to scale that. So it's not only just food products, it's also household items.
Okay.
So, the basket concept does go along with the functionalism. We still have the functional side of the app where people can order things, so like one by one. But the basket thing is one way we're trying to increase our order value, increase our order size.
Actually, on that, David asked earlier, what happens if I don't like the item that I retrieve from this basket? Yeah, so if it's after they've purchased the item, then and you've already chosen the item, then it's kind of a mistake on your behalf that you've bought the item. I mean, shops are personally liable for providing you false items. So if they provide you a wrong item, that's the case. If it's something like a greengrocer product and it's not of suitable quality, of course you can return it. There is a return policy that we have. If you're getting apples and they're all brown and moldy and things, definitely that is it's included in their contract where they are personally liable for stuff like that, and they have to refund the customer. We try to do as much of it ourselves as possible, but if it's the duty and the responsibility of the shop to make sure and ensure that the products they provide for the customer are of a good quality. And I've seen this a lot in the delivery industry where sometimes drivers, the shops actually do give a little bit of faulty items and stuff, maybe by accident, I'm pretty sure, they didn't want to do it, but like, if it's that case, you can have it so the shop itself is personally responsible for that, and you can refund. And then you mentioned that you are definitely in the delivery industry, so you have to manage drivers also. Yes. How do you plan ahead? They are working with shops, consumer, but also drivers, and how do you plan ahead the need you have for drivers? Yeah, so of course initially it would be kind of silly to almost have dedicated drivers for your application. You're paying a flat fee for drivers, and you might not even have orders every minute or every hour or even sometimes even a day. You never know, because we're still building an MVP. Obviously we do have the traction from the stores that are joint venturing with us, so it means that we are getting their customers, but the whole point is that we in the beginning stages, in the early stages, we really want to outsource the deliveries. So joint ventures obviously will deliver themselves, so that's not really a problem. Sure. So that kind of cuts that end out for us. So that's the easy part. Yeah, that's the easy part. They do everything themselves. From our perspective, it's about shops that don't have any of that. Now, some of these shops who we aren't joint venturing with,
trying to connect them with drivers is a little bit more of an issue, but we can outsource to, like I said, Stewart, which already have their own courier service and they do on-demand delivery. So using them to power the back model of the business is an option for us. But then again, they do put us a bit more unprofitable, because consider it, they are a business, they charge their drivers, they need to make money.
Yeah.
So
it leaves you just a small
penny, and some cases we're actually losing out. So we're actually all losing out in some areas of the spectrum. But the main important thing is that it is generally very, very profitable in that sense. But we don't want to charge customers insane amounts of food. You know, if you're ordering £20 of groceries, you don't want to pay £32 and 96 pence.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, exactly. You know, you want to pay as close as you can to that £20 as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're trying to encourage that. We're looking into actually a green aspect of the business. So one of the vehicles we were actually looking at getting for our drivers on launch, you know, we are a technology company, so we're not actually supposed to get drivers, but initially we will have to do some things ourselves. Yeah. So one of the vehicles we're trying to get is actually an e-bike, and e-bikes are electronic bikes, and they have very good storage capacity, some of them, if you look at them. So one of them we're looking at is called EV Cargo. So we're trying to inquire and see what kind of vehicle, if we can use this vehicle for launch. Because that would really power deliveries, because you're not paying insurance, you're not paying congestion charge, you're not paying ULEZ, all you're doing is the bike, and it can carry 175 kilos, something like this.
That's good.
Yeah, so this bike would make us extremely profitable in that business regard as well. So,
can you pay in cash?
Can you pay in cash? No, it's not something we can do, because you know,
I think it's not even. I think people today don't necessarily want to have drivers moving around with cash anyway. From the driver's perspective, from the end user perspective.
From a safety perspective, it's not a really good idea either.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of issues involved in that, and also it's not very scalable. You know, how do you get that money from the customer to us and then to the shop back? You know, it's not, and especially because the drivers are from Stewart. So they don't even work for us necessarily. You know, they take the money like, yeah, you know, it's a free payday. Yeah. So of course, like, I think the majority of people won't be like that. But cash is not the future of things. I don't see it as being the future of payments.
So on that, Eddie is asking an interesting question. What about paying in Bitcoin or any crypto?
So I like the idea of cryptocurrency, and I'll be honest. You know, there's a lot of hype around it, but I feel like, you know, people add cryptocurrency to a lot of things for the sake of having cryptocurrency. I don't think genuinely anyone is going to be like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to pay for my shopping in Bitcoin, because why not, you know?
Well, with the price fluctuation, it's actually a big bet to pay your grocery.
It is definitely a big bet, and I think it is definitely something we're going to add in future. But for current MVP, I don't picture anyone going like, you know, I'm going to pay £20 worth of shopping in 0.0300167 bitcoins. I mean, what we can do is the payment system we currently use, they do accept Bitcoin as a payment transactions, and it manually just converts it to fiat for us. So yeah, it's almost like paying with Bitcoin. It pretty much is on that level. So I'd say yeah. So you can pay using Bitcoin, actually. But it's not something we directly accept ourselves, if that makes sense.
So it doesn't go through a platform.
It doesn't go through our platform. It's just fiat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now talking a bit more about the company itself, I think you raised a bit of money already, right? You got some institutional investment going, or you may be
no, we had we have a couple of investors interested right now, and our current statement is, you know, wait for launch, because, you know, we don't have a proper thing to look at, you know, even our sales sheets and our balance sheets and things. You know, a startup, if you're asking a startup before they've started really, for balance sheets, they can make any ridiculous number possible, like imaginable. I can say I'm making $1 million next month. You know, I would like that to be the case. I would like that to be the case, but, you know, I don't think it's reasonable at this stage to just ask for investment. So we have got a lot of people very interested, and they have made us offers already, and, you know, which is really boosted the motivation of the team. But in that regard, we kind of just want to wait it out, see how it goes,
and get some traction to show that people want to use it.
Yeah, people want to use it, and then maybe, who knows, the valuation increases, it doesn't, or it stays the same. So, you know, I think it's probably a good idea to wait it out.
And in your situation where you're building a platform that has so many people involved and different actors involved, what are investors asking you the most about? Is this about partnership, getting shops on board? Are they more asking about the end users and getting visibility to the end users, or is it more about something else? Maybe they're asking more about just the team and if you can put it out.
So investors ask for a lot of things. That's the first
Yes.
thing. Yeah. They ask for a lot of things.
Everything.
Yeah, they ask everything about your business. I mean, the biggest question they ask is definitely profitability, especially when you're looking at the sector. You can already see examples like Uber are having issues with their profitability and balance sheets and whatnot. So it is you have to put a shade of light to that. The reason why this is completely different from that is, our business model. We're dealing with orders that are way bigger than what Uber Eats and things are handling. Like, food is about 12. You can get it from £10 to £20 for a single person, or up to £30. But groceries, you can spend hundreds of pounds on them. So it is a completely different segment in that thing, and even a small percentage of a commission on a big order does amount to a lot. So profitability is the first thing. Second thing is customers. It's always customers. That's for any investor. It's definitely customers, and we kind of solved that issue because not really solved it. It's ongoing. Customers are always ongoing, obviously. The joint ventures that we're currently looking to partner with, they're bringing their customers onto the platform for us, essentially.
Okay, so
Because
you don't need to deal with that directly.
Exactly. So we don't have to. If for the beginning stages, we don't have to deal with it directly. Obviously, in future, we're going to market, we're going to advertise, and we're going to spend loads and loads of money on trying to attract a decent, sizable customer base. But for now, I think we are pretty set for launch, which is actually in 2 weeks' time. So if you want to use it, you can. It's a limited in certain sections of London, so you can't just use it. If you're in Hounslow or something, for example.
Well, that's a launch. Well, I don't even know where this is, but.
It's central. So actually, in this area, we're actually covering it. So,
Cool.
This is Marylebone area, sort of like central London.
Yes.
So we cover this area. So the customer side of things, we do have that kind of full launch. Like I said, it's kind of put out there. We kind of sorted that issue out, trying to get traction and people using the app. So investors, and this is the most common one afterwards, is the question they ask me is also, how would you go about getting some of these stores signed up when they have so many different products, they have so many different things, they have so many different systems, you're dealing with inventory, some of it's not seamless, and that is a big question. It is actually I think that's probably the best question they should be asking, and to that I say is we are developing different integrations with various different ecosystems, so that we'll have a seamless experience. But where we can't, usually the fluctuations in pricing are very low. So I don't know if you know this, but various different grocery stores, their prices change all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you go into it one day, your milk might be £1, and the next day it might be £1.20. Obviously there are regulations in place that government will not let your milk be above this price because it's a staple. But for the majority of things, they tend to be around the set price. So what we told them is, if you add a little bit of an extra margin to cover it, if we don't have a seamless integration, it should cover your expenses. And there is a lot of demand for this.
Okay.
One of the main issues with a lot of startups is they try to focus on price and trying to cut their corners by saying, we're going to offer a really cheap product. But if you put a cheap product out there, you're not getting customers based on their wants, you're getting them based on the price.
Yeah.
And their needs.
And when you're a startup, generally you can't really compete on the price.
You cannot compete on the price. It's impossible. And competing on price is one of the biggest mistakes from the experience I have, from my family have, and a lot of business owners that I've been talking to, is competing on price is not something you want to be doing. You want to be trying to get your product out there, trying to innovate, create new things, and that's literally what we're doing. Every week we're buzzing with new ideas. My team of four, we're a team of four, and the amount of ideas we come up on a weekend, it's insane. We start the next week like, okay, how do we start this now? 6 months ago, when we were at the conceptual level to now, our business model has rapidly changed, and we want to be like that. We don't want to be set on our feet, because I feel like that would be detrimental to our success.
Well, I think you can't when you're a startup. You have to.
You
may be pivoting your main product in 6 months, or changing a few things because of your assumption of how things work on your client side, but actually it works slightly differently.
Exactly. Yeah. So the startup it's based on a lot of assumptions. So
I think also.
Yeah.
I want to get back to the team composition and your background, but first I want to ask you something about the big players in place. So you have potentially Uber Eats or Just Eat or all those big players that are already in place for the restoration delivery. And I guess that's a problem that lots of startups have.
They have a lot of competition.
Yeah, and also it's not just about competition, it's about what if the big player decide to attack your market. Are you going to go for their market? Do you plan something or prepare for them jumping in yours?
So unfortunately, Uber is tapping into this market. Undoubtedly, this is their playing field. And the thing and the advice I probably have for a lot of startups and people out there who are like, oh, competitors entering my space, is be more innovative. You know, these companies are bureaucracies. You know, they have loads of management, they have loads of hierarchies. When it comes to making a decision, it takes an awful long time. You know, like Uber, from making one decision to another, probably takes 6 months. So it's you got to think about it from that perspective. You're light on your feet. You can adapt. You can move around. And that's not something a big company can do, like Uber, especially when they're losing loads of money, like at this stage. They have to revise their business model. So regarding Uber and similar platforms, they have a lot of problems already. I'm pretty sure, like at this stage, they probably should be dealing with their own problems rather than trying to expand in new markets. And if they do expand into this market, that's really silly of them. I think from my perspective, you know, I'm young. I can't. I don't have that much experience. But you know, it doesn't take a person with a lot of rationality to realize if your main business is failing, you should probably choose something to patch it up before you go dive into something else. You know, and I think that's also the case with a lot of similar platforms out there as well. Deliveroo is also trying to tap into it. They are starting, but they only start with food and basic foods and wines. We provide it for shops that don't even have the POS system. Where Deliveroo do it, they do it with shops that already have their things ready. I'm going around to the shops myself like this and speaking to the manager, trying to get the contact details, trying to understand where the problem lies. You cannot do that in a bureaucracy, in a huge business environment.
Big player talking to another big player.
Exactly. That's not how it works. So when I go to them themselves, you know, it's much easier to get along with them. They know I'm not trying to, you know, take away their business. I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to support them, because if I support them, they're supporting me and my business. It's very easy to move around.
Okay, and so now talking more about the team itself. So you mentioned that you were just the 4 of you right now. What is the composition? Who is doing what in the team?
So it's been fluctuating, you know, a lot. You know, when you look at a startup from a general perspective, the CEO is expected to be the janitor as well, in that sense. Yeah. So we're expected to do everything, whether you're managing people or talking to clients or a developer, you're expected to do everything. So set roles in a startup are never the way to go about it. I call myself CEO, but that doesn't mean I'm a CEO. That means I am me. I'm just Hevar. I'm just trying to, get this business going. That's it. So, but general team composition, what we're actually kind of meant to be focusing on. So we have a graphics designer, and his name's Matthew. We have our financial guy, the numbers guy, math guy. His name's Shao, and we have our lead developer. His name's Stuart, and you have me basically. And I'm sort of managing things. I'm just making sure things are in order. I'm giving people direction, giving them recommendations. I have a lot of experience in business in the environment because my father, I helped him out with his business, and he had a lot of inventory management. So I kind of helped in that regard. Our team is actually wonderful, honestly. We're a bunch of ambitious young people, and a lot of people have some concerns with that. Then they're like, oh, okay, these guys are gonna end into a ditch. But I've looked at it from a different perspective, and honestly, the way we're going about it with our team, we have probably a really, really one of the best teams I've seen around in the startup environment. I'm not trying to be arrogant, but from the composition we have, the basic composition and the outline, the layout, we've done so much progress in the last 6 months that I think that a lot of other people wouldn't have done that. We were just an idea 6 months ago, and now we have almost 50 shops on our platform already, and we're about to launch in just a week and a half's time. So
do you feel that you have to fight a lot, well, not fight, but convince and do a lot of work with shops to bring them on board because you're young, or do they have specific questions?
Good question.
Or do you think that because of your age and the young team, and the fact that you're also a young startup, you have odd questions sometimes from them.
Yeah, so there is that concern. It's like, oh, okay, this is a teenager. I'm giving him access to my entire shop and possibly even my balance sheets, and you're giving him access to a lot of information that would otherwise be confidential and not open to the public. And you know what? They're absolutely right. Giving it stuff to a teenager is not probably the best thing to do. Yeah, so they do have a lot of concerns in that. But generally, when I go to them and I visit them and I explain the idea thoroughly and I show them the business plan and I explain to them, I give them rationale behind it, they tend to be very on board and actually very eager. I'm really surprised of how eager they are. I'm getting calls all the time where people's like, hey, Hevar, I need to sign up right now. Like, what's the process like? Oh, I'm like,
amazing.
My schedule's full up. Like, even after this, I've got to go 10 different other places. And
and it's Saturday.
Yeah, and a Saturday even. Like, shops are trying to get me on a Saturday and a Sunday. So it's really interesting that, I would have otherwise expected it to be opposite. Exactly how you were saying, people not trusting it. But because they really don't have anything to lose apart from, the legalities inside and that kind of thing, they really are quite open-minded to it because they saw how delivery affected the restaurant industry and they don't want to miss out on something like this.
Yeah, there is definitely a big FOMO there for them, especially if they're not really connected yet.
Yeah.
They need to skip some step and definitely jump on what's coming next.
Exactly. That's very true. So, and I think Delivery now, they even charge a joining fee, so to join their platform. So they're even making it difficult for people to join, but people still want to join them. So when we provide that service almost for free, basically, it is free. We're not doing anything, and I'm giving them my time. They are very appreciative of that, of the fact we're trying to digitize their business. A lot of them are seeing positive benefits already because I've got their products all in a format they can look at. They're also able to negotiate better rates with their suppliers and things, and that is something maybe we're looking to in the future with data analytics and things. Yeah,
data is key today, so if you can help them on that front too, definitely a big bonus for them.
It's new oil.
You mentioned that you started the business 6 months ago, and I remember when we've met a few months ago, it was maybe 3.
Yeah, it was about 3 months ago. Yeah.
You told me about how amazed you were by the startup ecosystem here in London, and people were helpful. So, is there anything that you found especially helpful within the ecosystem that really helped you along those 6 months, or any big thing that happened thanks to something in the community?
I've got to have a big shout out to my father, who kind of helped me get an internship at this tech company.
Okay.
So one of the tech companies I work at, they have an amazing CEO, and he's been a great mentor to me. So he's got a working business and he's very successful. So when he guided my business and he gave me vision and he gave me ideas to look at, it kind of put things into perspective for me. And you don't really get that in any other place in the world. I promise you, if you go to Europe and other places in Europe, I mean, you probably will get a similar experience. But in London, because all the tech companies are kind of focused in one place, they kind of it's very easy to network and leverage those contacts to help you with your business. I don't think, if I probably started this, I don't know, in Germany, I would have, been in the same position as I would have been now.
Sorry, I was just looking at the chat here. I think Matthew from your team is actually exchanging with David on the chat. So that's very interesting to see.
Oh, Matthew's actually the team member, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's very interesting to see the interaction here, and I hope, something will come out of this. If anyone has any further question also, please feel free to join the discussion. It's not just to exchange contact in the chat, but you can also join and ask your own questions. Okay, so you also have been quite involved within the community, and is there anything that was missing also? I like to ask that because
anything you're missing?
Yeah, anything that you found that maybe you could have some more help on this front.
Not really. I mean, I think I outlined pretty much everything. I have been working my cocoon for a long time, so I haven't really, revealed much. But I think it's now the time to really start with pushing things out as well. Yeah. Okay.
What about the big milestones? So you've done a lot in just 6 months.
Yeah.
What are the big next step for you? So you're launching in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe how you're preparing for that. That's a big step.
It is a big step, I have to say, but we're trying to make it a small step. So we're going to do a soft launch. So we're trying to ease things down in the beginning because a lot of, I read a lot. I read a lot of books and I try and fill up my head with knowledge from previous startups, so I don't make the same failures as them.
Yeah.
I feel like failure is a good way to learn, but I feel like learning from other people's mistakes is probably the best way to learn, because you don't have to make them yourself. And one of the big ways to make a mistake in a startup like this is to over prepare and to over, give resources, if that even is a word, for a launch like this.
Yeah.
You don't know day one of launch how many customers you're going to have. You don't know how many people are going to be on your app. So I think we're taking it from a perspective of, let's see how it goes. We have done sufficient preparation for it, but the next big step would be, trying to expand as quickly as possible, trying to get our business as profitable as possible so we can try and scale it. Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing to do for now.
You also mentioned to me at some point that you were looking to expand internationally really quickly. And
Yes.
that's interesting because you haven't launched yet, but you're already looking at the future and taking over different cities.
Yeah.
Why that? Why from day one? How do you handle that part of your current plan that is just launching in 2 weeks first?
Yeah, so our current plan is obviously launch, get the business running, and get the business to be in a position where it's profitable and scalable. And at that point, which it will be very quick, consider it this way, it's a technology company. We're not selling anything physical, nothing tangible. We're selling a service. We're connecting 3 ends together. So scaling globally is it's not as difficult as things would be. Obviously, there's a lot of legalities, there's a lot of concerns, and there's a lot of things. But we are hopeful to try and expand as quick as possible. My helpful graphic designer and potential and hopeful CEO of the company is actually in Berlin. So as you saw in the chat, so he's already going out to stores in Berlin and reaching out to see if there's even a market in there in the first place. And turns out there actually is. People are already on the same hype. They're like, I want to sign up. This is a great idea, because in Germany actually it's probably an even better market than the UK, because they don't even have Uber Eats.
Really?
Yeah, they don't have it.
Okay.
Uber Eats kind of died out there. I think they do have Deliveroo. I'm not exactly sure. So their platforms are very limited. They have one company called Lieferando, which is kind of their version of their take on Deliveroo, but they don't really conquer the grocery market. And actually, across Europe, this problem is replicated. It's cloned. It's almost like in certain areas, it's even worse there. So in the Netherlands, they have the equivalent of Ocado there. And the thing is with that, they misplace items very often. Like, it's almost like a 30% chance you get misplaced things. So expanding is all a case of just getting our things right in the beginning and then trying to hit the market.
That's very exciting that you still manage to send some people here and there,
Yeah.
and keep an eye on the bigger picture while focusing also on the day-to-day aspect.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's really cool. I really like that. You mentioned a bit some regulations, and I'm wondering if what happened with Uber, so for them that's slightly different because they were transporting people, but still they had lots of problem with sexual assault and other legal issues, and I'm wondering if it has any legal repercussion on the entire delivery system. Is there new regulation you have to be careful with or anything like that?
So Uber obviously having a lot of issues with their transportation and moving people around, and in that sense it's horrible to hear that, honestly. You hear stories of loads of things happening in where someone gets in a car, it's not the same person, or abuse or harassment and all that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, aside from that, I don't think the regulation is kind of dipping much into the food and grocery delivery transportation sort of things, because it's almost like your Royal Mail kind of guy or your parcel delivery guy giving you something, because you're not letting them into your own house.
Sure.
Yeah, you're not. It's not something as risky as putting someone in your own car and vehicle that you don't know. And one thing that we are trying to do and make sure we do upon launch, once we actually do get our own drivers, is properly vet them and actually sit them down somewhere. This is something Uber actually don't even do.
Okay.
So try and sit them down and actually talk to them, see where they are, even do a CLB check and see what kind of people are. I think the stigma is that majority of these drivers are genuinely nice people. It's just a small proportion of these people do kind of make it seem like the bad apples. It's horrible to hear. When I came here, I got an Uber, so it's horrible to see that this kind of thing is affecting the industry in that sense. But I think it is the sole responsibility of the company to ensure that the drivers are, vetted properly.
Yeah. So are you already working on an onboarding process for as soon as you hire more drivers?
Yeah, so that process we're developing alongside our driver app. So once we build that, we're going to build the infrastructure for it. We're going to have a place to vet them. So everything will be taken in steps so we can gradually get there. We're going to ensure we work with the regulation because like a lot of startups do this where they expand rapidly and they forget that regulation exists. And then when they get hit by regulation, it's just like, oh my God, I've got like a VAT bill of 1.4 billion. Like,
surprise!
Yeah, exactly. Surprise! I've got regulations now, guys. Yeah. So we don't want to be hit by that issue, and also it's just general, responsibility of the company to make sure these are in place first. Yeah.
Definitely. Also, we talked about your team and your team composition, but how did it really started? Where did the idea came from? So you mentioned that you have experience with inventories, working with your dad's shop.
Yeah.
But also, how did this all started with the entire team getting together?
Okay, so it's a long story and it's very coincidental. We met people and I pick people up at random places. You drop them off at random places. It's like a bus journey almost for us. The idea really started, I'd say about 9 months ago. But I was during school at this time. I was doing my A-levels. And I was doing my exams and things and stuff. So I was sitting down in a coffee shop. I was just drinking my Starbucks coffee and I was thinking, oh God, like my mom's just texted me. She's like, go get some stuff from Tesco and there's a Middle Eastern shop down the road. She's like, okay, I need chickpeas for falafels and things.
Okay.
So she's like, okay, go buy them. I was just like, I just want to sit here and read my book. Like, just leave me alone. So it got to that point. I was like, and I was, at the same time, I was actually writing down business ideas on a book.
Okay.
So I was just writing down things because I love the idea of entrepreneurship. I love starting my own thing. I love building things and making things happen. And that's kind of been my philosophy from day one. So as I was writing stuff down, I was like, crap, that is actually a really brilliant idea. And, when I looked it up, there are similar, competitors out there. There's Instacart in the US, there's Instashop in Emirates, there's even competitors here in the UK doing very similar things to us. Not exactly the same, but very similar things to us. And I looked at their models and I was like, why is no one doing this, this, and this? And when I connected the dots, I kind of put together a vision. And then I kind of went home to my mom and I told her the idea. I was like, oh, I have this, I have this idea. Do you think this is something that interests you? And she's like, yeah. And essentially from serving people and asking people that question, it became kind of more recognizable to me that this is something we can solve. And along that, so it was just me by myself. I'm not very technical. I did computer science at A-level, so I do have some experience with programming. I'm not the best, as I have to say, but I am quite a generalist, so I can do anything from, I can even do UX design, I can do UI design, I can manage numbers, I can do finance, I can do spreadsheets. So I was like, okay, I will be the generalist for the business. Now I need to find people who are gonna brush up and polish the skills that we don't have in this business, because it's just a machine. Alright, the machine, you need all the skills. So I was like, okay, first thing I'm gonna need, numbers guy. Got the numbers guy, got Chow, and then came along 3 developers who were literally like, they advertised their skills as being really, really big, and we got nothing from them, and it was just a total waste of time. And I knew they were time wasting from day one. I just wanted to see if they could even provide us something in the first place. So that was an issue. And then luckily we found a godsend. His name's Stuart. And that guy, our team loves him to bits because he's built the platform to such an extent. Like, you look at it now, it's like exactly how we envisioned it, even better. So, and then before that we found Matthew. And Matthew I found him online. Can you believe it? I found the guy. Yeah. And
was that a forum or something with your personal interest, something else?
Yeah, it was actually through a friend on Discord actually. So surprisingly, so I found him on there. I was like, okay. You meet people through really interesting places, even the internet. So, and he's now a team member. I've met him in person loads of times and we're like really good friends. And our team surprisingly mingles well together. Like we actually get along pretty well. So there's not really many disagreements. Obviously, I guarantee you 3 months down the line, there'll probably be an argument. That's normal in a business. Always happens. But we've managed to get along pretty well and we solve things quickly. And when one person doesn't want to make a decision, we tell them, okay, this is our perspective. Do you see it now? It's like, and they understand it. Yeah, that's pretty much the story of like the founding team of Wutzu.
Yeah, that's really nice story. And I really like how you, as soon as you got the idea, you immediately came back home and just talked about it to your mom. Some people can talk about business to their parents, some can't.
It's the only thing I thought about.
I have a question from Eddie,
Yes.
who is a big fan of open source, and he asked if any part of your platform is open source.
Okay, that is something obviously Stu would know more about than me. A lot of the things on the platform probably will be open source, because I do believe in open source.
Okay.
I do believe in the open source economy. Not for everything, obviously, for certain items that we want to keep for ourselves, but I think things like, scanning cards, credit cards and things, maybe some of the basic web design, and actually most of our stuff, it is open source, like it's borrowed from open source and edited anyway, so it's so yeah, like we will publish things, some things, but obviously to keep a company more competitive, you can't really do anything. You can't give your source out to people, Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And also, you mentioned earlier that you used to be a student when you started looking at some ideas to start your own business, and that's something you really always wanted to do. Would you recommend to students to just start their own business while they are student? Maybe on the side, or maybe
as a student,
get some idea, or work with tech startup where they can have more exposure to some entrepreneurs, get to have a better idea of the work and how it works.
Okay, so my advice, and it does seem counterintuitive, is the majority of students don't. And the reason is it's not as easy as everyone thinks. It's there have been a lot of ups and downs and highs and lows, and there have been points where things do get out of control, and you have to put a stop to that. You have to get things in order. So generally, students, unless they have an idea and they're very emotionally resilient and they're strong and they think they can handle that kind of environment, I wouldn't recommend doing it, because the amount of times where I've been dealing with clients or people that are very stubborn, very arrogant, and when you try and explain something to them, they won't understand. It's been immense, and it will put you down. It will put you down. So if you're the kind of person who's not so emotionally resilient, I'd say try and get experience first. Try and get some hands-on experience first, then go for it. But if you think you can do it, and you're not doubting yourself, then go for it. Honestly, I think there are for the majority of people, I think it's a waiting game. But there are a certain percentage of people I believe are really ready for it, and they can jump straight into the action. They can go for it. Yeah. But I don't want to discourage anyone. I don't want to set fire to their hopes and dreams. But it's genuinely going from 6 months ago to now, and it might not seem like a long time, but it feels like forever for me.
It's a roller coaster. Building a startup, it's a roller coaster, and hugely. Emotionally as well as in the work you put on it. So
exactly.
I guess you're definitely right about resilience. I will definitely agree
exactly.
with that.
Look, I kind of, as a normal thing in a startup, you will have to sacrifice your social life. You'll have to sacrifice, meeting your family. Even there'll be times you're like, okay, I don't even have enough time to sleep now. Like, what do I do? You go from working.
Which is bad. You need to sleep.
Of course, yeah. I slept well before this interview. Don't worry. Okay. But it's just there's so many factors to look into. Especially considering I still work part-time to help fund this as well, out of my own pocket. So I go home from working to working more, and then I sleep to work. So and there's no breaks on Saturdays and Sundays. It's not like, okay, it's a Saturday now, let me get my legs up and play video games. Today has been one of the it's the first time in about 6 or 7 weeks I played a video game. So if you're a student that plays video games, it's gonna be very difficult. But yeah.
What has been the hardest thing so far in the past 6 months? Has there been something that has been surprisingly hard that you didn't expect it would be that hard?
Getting off your feet.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think the biggest problem for anyone is trying to get started. You're like, how do I even start from a problem like this? What do I do? Where do I go to? What should be my first steps? And there's not really an answer to that question. because it's open-ended. You could start anywhere you wanted to.
And it depends on your business also.
Yeah,
It depends
exactly.
on what you feel that would be the best first step. As soon as
Exactly.
everything goes together at the end.
Yeah, assuming the bits to go together. There really is. There's really no right answer to where you should start, and the key is just start. Like I think that's what it is. Just begin. Like even if you have no idea what the hell you're doing, just do something anyway. Because then, slowly, bit by bit, you will figure out the steps in order to start a business.
Yeah. Any resources or anything you'd like to share to anyone that wants to get started? Maybe a specific book or something that you find helpful. A tip, maybe just anything.
Yeah. So I recommend 2 things. So one thing, Reddit is pretty useful. Anytime you need any advice, whether it's business or relationships or even people, I promise you Reddit has the answer. Like I don't know if you use it, but it's
I used to use it a lot.
Used to, okay.
I use it less now.
Yeah. So but it's honestly like my go-to. It's like it's like my new Google, and that has helped me with so many questions I had and so many tips. And the second thing is, if you're starting a tech company especially, probably read the Lean Startup by Eric Ries. I know that's it's the cringiest thing to say. A lot of startup founders will be like, oh, I've read that book 1,000 times, but trust me, if you read it 1,000 more, it really does make sense to people, and it's really all about filling your head with information.
And so, as we mentioned before, you haven't been communicating much for now until the launch in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
So where can we find you online if anyone wants to have more information or follow up with you? What's the best way?
Yeah, so we do have our LinkedIn pages, obviously.
Yes.
I have my my profile set on public. The reason, like I said, for not publishing this information sooner is because I kind of wanted to have the works in secret, because that's part of the startup environment. You want to hide your source away from people before you throw it out everywhere. So if you want to contact me or the team, feel free to do it on LinkedIn, on the website as well. Like I've started it up. It's basic. That's not anything permanent. That's going to be there only for the next couple of days, actually. So if you want to, after this interview or whatever, have a look at what we're building and have a look at what we're doing. I think it's better to get into contact personally with one of us or the team, and we'll probably work something out.
Great. Well, feel free to reach out. I know some of the team members have always also been in the chat and exchanging with a few of you, so feel free to reach out to them too.
Fantastic.
For my part, you can find me on Twitter. I think my personal Twitter and the Entrepreneurs Playing Games Twitter has been moving around on the corner of the screen for the entire discussion. So you should be able to find it. That's the best way to reach out to me, and that's the platform I think I was the most active on. I do live streams about every 2 weeks, but today is the last interview we do of the year. So I will be live again in 2 weeks. But it will be slightly different. We are going to do more of a Christmas live stream. It will be more about you, the chat, and people watching us regularly, just to discuss, to know more about you, what you're doing, and to have more of a chill out discussion. And I will just be around so we can chat about anything. Also, as I mentioned before, I will make sure that the video is available on YouTube in the coming days, or even right after the stream, and the highlight video will come up in the coming days, as well as the podcast edition. If you want to support the channel, I'd love for you to just help me spread the word. I know that quite a few people stopping by really enjoy the format and find it quite interesting, and the best way to grow the community and to reach out to more people is to actually just spread the word. So if you could just follow the channel on Twitch or YouTube, whatever platform you prefer, and help me just share the different videos, that would be amazing. Otherwise, just check it out. And also, Christmas is coming, so I created a merch shop. So if you are part of some Secret Santa thing and you have to fill out your duty and find some gifts, check it out. There are some mugs and hoodies and a few other stuff. So I think that's the best way to brag about supporting a creator and at the same time, well, being a Secret Santa, and a quite cool one. Anyway, I think that's it for my blurb here. I'd like to thank you a lot, Eva, for coming here
Thank you very
today.
much.
That was really fun. And thanks to all of you for joining the discussion. We had very interesting discussions today and very interesting questions. So big thanks to everyone. I see that we also had a few new follows. I guess it might be on Twitch. So thanks to all of you. I can't see here the name, but big thanks to all of you. And it's Saturday, so I wish you all a fantastic weekend ahead. Feel free to reach out anytime, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.